Imagine this. You're standing at the edge of a bridge, engulfed in flames, heat warping the air into liquid shadows. The planks crack and collapse behind you, not from accident, but choice. You lit the match. You watched the fire spread. And now, as the smoke blurs the horizon, a question claws at your ribs. Why does destruction taste so much like freedom? The bridges we burn are seldom made of wood or steel. They're forged from relationships, identities, versions of ourselves we once swore were unshakable. Yet here you are, arsonist and architect, watching the past disintegrate. But this isn't rebellion. It's a paradox. To survive, you must annihilate what once sustained you. To breathe, you must suffocate the parts of your soul that cling to familiar prisons. What if every bridge burned isn't a loss, but a silent negotiation with the void? What if the soul, like a star, must collapse inward before it can explode into something new? And what happens when the fire you started begins to feed on something you didn't intend to sacrifice? Your capacity to trust, to hope, to remain human. The blaze is spreading. The questions grow louder, and somewhere in the smoke, a truth waits, sharp and serpentine, ready to strike. The fire doesn't end when the bridges fall. It metastasizes. At first, you mistake the aftermath for freedom. No obligations, no ghosts of what once was. But beneath the surface, neural pathways rewire. Each act of destruction primes the brain to crave escalation, a phenomenon neurologists call aggression bias. The same circuitry that lights up during physical combat flares when you sever ties, flooding the body with adrenaline's deceptive euphoria. You become addicted to the climax of collapse, mistaking it for catharsis. Culturally, we've weaponized this. Social media algorithms thrive on rupture, public breakups, canceled careers, performative rebirths, all while eroding our tolerance for nuance. Like termites, confirmation bias gnaws at reason. You seek evidence to justify each new fire, ignoring the smoke inhalation, slowly poisoning your capacity for intimacy. Societies fracture in tandem. Trust erodes. Communities splinter into islands of curated truth, each citizen a pyromaniac of their own making. But the most insidious consequence? The lie you swallow, that burning bridges is agency. Viktor Frankl warned of this. When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. Yet here you are, changing nothing but the radius of the burn scar. The bridges weren't the trap, the pattern is. And patterns, once etched into the psyche, to become silent avalanches. Stop. Breathe. The rebellion begins here, not in the flames, but in the stillness between them. You've been told that burning bridges is an act of courage. It's not. True rebellion is refusing to play the game at all. Nietzsche's eternal recurrence asks, what if you had to live this life, every detail, repeated infinitely? What if, instead of burning bridges, you rebuilt them with a single, unshakable clause? They can no longer cage you. History's greatest revolutionaries understood this. Take the Japanese art of kintsugi, repairing broken pottery with gold, not to hide the cracks, but to make them sacred. Neuroscience reveals that the brain's default mode network, the circuitry of rumination, feeds on unresolved trauma. Every bridge burned to escape a wound only deepens its neural groove. But neuroplasticity offers an escape hatch. What you focus on rewires you. Start here. When the urge to torture relationship, habit, or identity strikes, pause. Ask, am I destroying to avoid feeling or to reclaim agency? This is where the rebels thrive. The philosopher Søren Kierkegaard dissolved his engagement to Regine Olsen not out of spite, but to spare her a life shackled to his existential torment. He burned a bridge to preserve her freedom, not his own. Contrast this with the modern impulse to ghost, cancel, or sabotage. Acts that scream, "Look at my pain," rather than, "I choose growth." The counterintuitive truth: to break free, you must become an architect, not an arsonist. Build boundary bridges, structures that allow connection without captivity. Learn the art of detachment without destruction. When Frida Kahlo's body betrayed her, she painted her agony into surreal, luminous worlds. She didn't burn her pain, she alchemized it into a language that outlived her. Here's how to begin. 1. Pause the pattern. When rage or despair tempt you to strike a match, freeze. Write the unsent letter. Scream into the void. Let the feeling move through, not from you. 2. Question the fuel. Are you burning bridges to avoid accountability? To punish others for your unmet needs? Freud called this repetition compulsion. Reenacting childhood wounds in adult relationships. Break the loop. 3. Build in the void. Nature abhors a vacuum, but the soul thrives there. After Mandela left prison, he didn't burn South Africa's oppressive systems. He built a Truth and Reconciliation Commission. Replace what you destroy, or the void will colonize you. The fire dies when you stop feeding it fear, start feeding it purpose. Here it is, the truth that scorches all others. The bridges were never yours to burn. You thought the flames were yours to wield, a testament to your will. But fire is older than choice, older than reason. It is entropy's tongue, licking clean the illusion of control. The bridges you burned, the lovers, the selves, the futures, were never obstacles. They were mirrors. And in their reflection, you avoided the one question that matters. Who are you when there's nothing left to destroy? The ultimate rebellion is not in the burning, but in seeing through the delusion of separateness. Buddhist philosophy calls this pratityasamutpad, the truth of interdependent arising. No bridge exists in isolation. To burn one is to sever a thread in the web that sustains you. Yet here's the paradox. Those threads were never binding you. You were the web, the bridges, the flames, the ashes, all extensions of a self that cannot be divided, only dissolved. Martin Heidegger grasped this when he wrote of being towards death, the realization that authenticity blooms not in defiance of limits, but in surrender to them. Every bridge you burned was a flight from mortality, a desperate bid to outrun the truth. You are a temporary arrangement of stardust, borrowing time, but in that impermanence lies your power. The Japanese concept of wabi-sabi honors beauty in transience. Your scars, your losses, your still smoldering ruins are not failures. They are artifacts of becoming. So let this be the revelation that rewires you. Destruction is not the opposite of creation. It is creation's shadow. Every great civilization, every soul, rises not from the ashes, but as the ashes. The phoenix is a lie. You are both the fire and the rebirth, the collapse and the cosmos inhaling. When your soul starts burning bridges, it's not calling you to annihilate. It's begging you to see, to stand in the blaze and realize the only thing burning is the idea that you were ever separate from what you feared. Now, breathe. The air is thick with embers. They taste like dawn.